before I walked in the door today, I was thinking about the week that I had.
Okay, tell me.
And I had an epiphany. And the epiphany that I had was that we're all going to die one day.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I was like, I need to kind of start living this new chapter in my life. Like, I don't give a shit. Because of the industry that I've worked in, which has always been entertainment, music, and fashion, even if you're somebody that is like, I don't care what people think, the nature of the industry is that people will have an opinion on you and what you're doing.
Yes.
A lot of it is reputation based. And I think now that I've recently come out of my job, I feel more free than I have in a long time.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah, so I had an epiphany that
So we're starting our new chapter.
Yes, we're starting our new chapter.
Which is exactly what we're going to talk about, what we're holding space for.
Period.
New chapters.
Yes.
So let's dive into it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Holding Space with Z and Lee. You're right, babes.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah, so your new chapter.
Holding space for a new chapter. Obviously, the most obvious one is that I have recently moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved here in September of last year. As I just mentioned, have recently left my job, or this week will be the last full week that I'm at this job. I was a talent manager and I literally managed talent, and it was entertainment and influencer talent. And obviously the nature of that job is that you are way more than a manager because you're dealing with their money. When they're not in the room, you are talking about them. So they need to trust that you are somebody, they need to connect with you in some way to be able to have that level of responsibility in their life. And so you become their, depending on who it is, their best friend, their husband, their accountant, their therapist, everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also just a new chapter for me personally.
Yeah.
I've said to you before that I didn't realize how I was depressed when I was in London. So I went back to London in January for a couple of weeks because a client was filming a TV show. And it was one of those moments where you could kind of look at yourself, have a sort of, what was it, out of body experience by being there. Because I was like, I've changed so much in such a short amount of time. Yeah. I've been in New York now for 4 months. And I realized that when I was living here, I had this low vibrational depression. And not depression like
when you were living in London.
When I was living in London.
Yes.
And not depression where I can't get out of the bed. Yeah. I need to be on lithium. Is that a depression tablet? Lithium.
Isn't that a battery?
No.
Lithium batteries?
No.
Yes, it is.
Lithium is lithium is medication. They gave Britney lithium.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway.
It's also a battery.
And so what was I saying?
Sorry.
Thank you for that. Depression. So it wasn't that I couldn't get out of the bed. It was more that it was over time. You realize that you have become a different person because of the fact that you're kind of living a life where it's quite monotonous. You go to work, you come home, and you do the same thing again. Yeah. You don't really have any hobbies. But being here and having to be on my own, I realized that I've been living small and I want to live big. And so, I'm here.
Piggybacking off of what you're saying, my new chapter is focusing on connecting with my inner child, connecting to what you just said, in terms of the monotony of life, having kind of a rut where you're just...
Are you in a rut, Zach?
I have been.
Okay.
We're not so much there anymore. But the point is, I've been in that rut of working, coming home, watching TV, going to bed, going back to work. And work was the definition of my life, which kind of comes with being in New York and being a young, career-oriented person and just dedicating everything to your work. And so now we're kind of in the next step era of trying to connect with hobbies and inner childhood self to figure out what we enjoy.
And you are trying to connect with your inner child on your own, not with therapy, not with a coach.
So when it comes to emotions, I don't get stuck in emotions all that much.
What does that mean?
Meaning that people can oftentimes get stuck in feeling a certain way.
Okay.
and not be able to get themselves out of that. And I think that's where therapy is ultimately used to like get yourself to see from a different perspective or get yourself to shake whatever it is off. So the way that I process things is like I love the emotion, fully absorb the emotion, but then I can logically understand why I'm having the emotion. So in a way I can therapize myself, which I've talked to people before and they're like, those typically are the people that actually need therapy the most because you can talk yourself out of having emotions.
And you said that you are no longer in a rut.
Correct.
How have you got yourself out of your rut?
Well,
Well,
I joined volleyball. That was like the biggest
volleyball.
Actually, funny story, everybody. Lee and I decided to try out for volleyball at the same time. Well, Lee said that he was going to.
I said I was going to volleyball.
And then I was like, actually, I've been wanting to do that for multiple seasons, and I just have not done it. And so it's like, I'm going to do it with you. And anyway, we both go. We have different slots for tryouts, and I have a great time. Did you?
Listen, I didn't understand what tryouts mean. I thought tryouts is you try out. I didn't realize that you go to tryouts and you are trying out with athletes. Like no one told me that that is what is. I thought I was going to see.
You try to make a team.
Babe, they said to me that like it will be people of all different skill levels, right? But the people that were in the class that I was in, they clearly have been playing volleyball for a very long time. I haven't played volleyball since I was 12, right? I used to be good at it when I was 12. So I thought, okay, maybe this is like riding a bike, right? You'll go back and you'll remember. I got in there, and the first thing he says to me is, what position do you want to be in? And I'm like, what positions are available? I don't really know.
I had the same issue though, to be honest.
And so Zach kindly pointed out after we had been to tryouts and we were telling a mutual friend about how painful it had been. And Zach kindly pointed out that I actually had never been to the tryouts and it was the warm-up that I had walked out of.
So Lee did not even go upstairs. Thought the tryout was done as soon as that first hour was up.
I appreciate you spilling all my tea. Let me ask you, did you make the team?
No.
Oh.
Baby, I didn't even know what positions there were. Of course I didn't make a team.
You didn't make the team either.
But...
And this is a gay volleyball team.
Yes.
Just wanted to point that out.
There are straight people who join.
Oh, really?
It's inclusive. Yes, it's very inclusive.
That's okay.
Not unfortunate.
I wasn't going to say unfortunate. I was going to say that is interesting.
Interesting is correct.
Yeah.
It's good though. It's like mainly gay. It's also queer. So there's a lot of different people like in terms of gender identities and stuff.
Did you join because it would be a good way to find friends or a man? Or both?
I joined, so this is the route we're going for Zachary's inner child, is to get out there pursuing hobbies that I'm interested in with the hopes of connecting with people in whatever level. So like that could be
other gay people,
another homosexual,
that
could be a straight person.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, just whatever it is, just getting out into the world instead of sitting in the apartment. But again, that's a hard thing.
Which
if you're
you've
out
done
and about.
An amazing job.
So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
That's your new chapter.
Yeah, that's the new chapter.
You know, I was thinking that my new chapter also might mean a new man.
Yeah.
That hasn't worked out. And I have to admit that you and Keith were right, because I came here going, well, it's going to be quite easy for me to find a guy.
Yeah.
And you guys turned around to me and said,
laughed in your face, pointed at you.
Dating here is trash. And I was like, what do you mean? I've been on so many dates.
Yeah.
And you guys said, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
And I couldn't understand that because I come from a country, England, London, by way of St. John's Wood, that the market is quite empty. There isn't anything there to buy.
Yes.
And so when I say that, like, oh, okay, I'm going to find someone here because I can go on 3 dates in a day if I want to.
And have.
You just want to spill all my tea. That's okay. That's fine. As long as I can return serve.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
Please.
So
you can edit this out.
I'm fine. I'm an open book. what I realized is from being here now for 6 months, 7 months, is that yes, the market is full. There are lots of options. There's lots of different donuts and lovely sugary things that you can purchase. But you get home and it's either two things. The donut is stale, or the sugar has meant that you've got cavities in your teeth. And I've realized that I've got cavities all over my teeth. And so I've stopped dating right now because I don't know. I started to feel like I was the problem.
Yeah.
Am I the problem?
No.
I was saying this to you last week when we went to that thrifty store.
Oh, yeah,
store,
yeah.
That I feel like I'm the problem. And you were again laughing. But it's
No,
okay.
no. You're definitely not the problem. It's definitely a convenience thing. New York is so focused on convenience and how you can benefit somebody, so the dating pool reflects that. Like when you think of what New York is, right? It is selfish, getting yourself in the door, progressing yourself in whatever way. It can be professional, it can be personal, whatever it is, right? Like it's built on selfishness. So that definitely bleeds into the dating pool, right? If you are not convenient, if you're not at my disposal when I need you, then it's not going to work out. But everybody wants that. So like nobody's going to get that if everybody wants that, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's definitely not you. It's just
I feel like it's been quite extreme. I've either met guys who are like, I want to be in a relationship with you right now, or I either meet guys that are distant and then don't want to talk. Like there's nothing in the middle.
Yeah. There's just no answer to that. There's no good answer.
I think the problem and the issue that I've worked out, the reason why it's so terrible is everything to do with foreskin. But Zach didn't want to talk about that this week. So we'll have to save that for another week.
Another week. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else in your new chapter that you wanted to
No, I think we
mention?
should jump into
Deep or dumb?
Deep or Dumb.
Deep or dumb?
And we can transition by saying, talking about coming off of the dating world that you're experiencing. I have been talking with friends about when the dating scene fails you, whether that's a breakup, whether that's just being tired of going on dates and putting so much energy into people who don't reciprocate, whatever it may be, right? When that fails you, what should your focus be? And the reality is that you have so many friends that you can romanticize your relationships.
Are you hitting on me?
Yes.
Are you trying to tell me
right over there. No, so basically taking the amount of energy and time that you would put towards these random strangers that you will probably never see again, and put some of that towards your actual friends, the friends who are there for you regardless of what happens. Even if you have a bad day, even if you don't want to talk, they're going to be there when you two want to talk. So like just kind of refocusing your lens.
So this is a deep topic. This is certainly not a dumb topic.
A little bit.
Okay,
it
fine.
can be.
This is a deep topic. I personally feel like this is always going to work out where you're going to want to go deep.
Absolutely.
And I'm always going to want to be dumb. But anyway.
What's your dumb take? Your friends?
No. My take on it is, I don't know if it's deep or it's dumb. It just depends on what people think about my answer. I have believed this for a long time because I realized that like I have so many men in my life who are my friends and they understand me. We have the best relationship. And there is this line where we're like, okay, well, we can't actually think about the relationship being anything more, right? Which, by the way, like as a side note, straight people don't think like that, which is interesting. Like guys and girls who become friends, I feel like the transition into a relationship is something that you see very often. Whereas with gays, some gays, it's like, no, you're my sister. Like I can't see you as, maybe I feel two bottoms, but I have been intimate with friends.
Yeah.
And I think I've been intimate with the friends that I knew that it wouldn't change the relationship.
Okay.
However, right? It's never been sober when I've done it. So it's not like we've planned and been like, I'm coming to yours to hook up today, unless the relationship started out that way and we ended up being friends. It wasn't friends with benefits. We were real friends, but it's never it was never a sober thing. It was always like we'd gone out and I guess we didn't find anybody else. So we might as well hook up with each other. Now, those people that I have hooked up with, who are my friends, I don't think they could then discuss a relationship though. I think they see it as that was just sex. Let's move on. I see you as my friend. But I don't think that in their mind, they could then
switch over.
Yeah. Whereas I think I could, because I actually believe that some of the best intimate moments that I've had is with my friends. And the reason for that is because I think that I just felt completely safe. It didn't feel like I was sleeping with a stranger.
Right.
Because we'd had loads of discussions about sex, I kind of had an idea of what they liked and what I liked, etc.
Yeah.
And so it just felt very easy. And so I don't see it as a bad thing because, as I said, it's something that straight people do all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't get why it's a taboo in the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah. Well, I think because sex muddies things for sure. Even when it comes to the dating apps, if you have sex on the first date, more than likely you're just a sex friend at that point.
I've got a story about that.
If you wait a little bit, then there's more of a chance to pursue each other. Connection. Yeah. Than if you just jump right into it. Also, it's easier to throw somebody away after you've experienced the excitement of the passion. So yeah, I think that generally happens in the gay community, and I think that's partially because we're so like liberated in terms of sexual experiences, and we can also know what we like and what we don't like, so it's easier to say, well, I can find what I do like elsewhere because that world is open,
So do you think, I think we see it all the time, gay men having sex with their friends, but your point is gay men being in relationships with their friends is something that's rare.
Yeah, I think so.
Having sex with your friends is common. I've like gone out with friend groups and they're like, yeah, we've all slept with each other. And
well, I mean, that's also part of like how you become friends. Like a lot of times it's
we've
through
slept with
the
each other
dating apps, and then we've hooked up, and then we become friends after the fact. So a lot of times that's, I think, where the connection point comes through, is like, we tried this and didn't need to pursue it further. So I think that's also why it kind of rules out relationship, is because if we tested the water on the first night, you're a cool person, but
I've been trying the whole let's not sleep on the first date thing.
Yeah.
Because I do believe there's something in my head that if I sleep with you on the first day, it means that I don't take you seriously as a partner. Would you date your friends?
I've talked to my high school friends about having a commune, basically.
What's a commune?
Like where we all have like a house on the block, and like it being like our
polyamorous.
No.
Oh.
No. That actual physical side wouldn't be a part of it. It would just be about like if we wanted to raise kids, we'd raise them together. We would like different people would be
like a little village.
Yeah, like a little village.
But they're all your friends.
Yeah.
And all the kids.
Besties.
All the kids. So if you say, for example, there's 5 houses in your community, and there's 4 kids.
Commune's the correct word.
Commune. Anyway,
cul-de-sac. It's a cul-de-sac.
A cul-de-sac
with 5 houses.
With 5 houses, and you have 4 kids that are living in the cul-de-sac.
Yes.
All of those kids call all of the different parents. They all call you daddy. Those kids
they might call us uncle,
dads.
But like the fact is, like, we'd all be working together to like sustain.
They would see them as a guardian, though.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes. So yeah, we've definitely talked about that. In terms of dating my friends, no.
You wouldn't.
Like so the interesting thing about me is like I want to know everything about my friends. I want to know your nudes. I want to gas you up. I want to know your sex life. I want to know everything, because to me, that's my friend. I want to like be able to like cheer you on for everything. But at the same moment, there's a mental boundary that as soon as we're not interested in each other, I have to put it up, not only for protection for myself, but protection in terms of like how do we keep this the way that we want to keep this, right? If we push a boundary that has already been set, then that means you could be gone. Whether you think that I pushed the boundary and it made you uncomfortable, so you're going to leave, or you push the boundary and...
So none of it just depend on who the friend is, though. Because, like, I think if you have a good relationship with that person, a really good foundation, and then you decide that you're going to be intimate with that person, that shouldn't affect your relationship. Unless something went awfully wrong during that experience.
Yeah.
But then I think you should be able to talk about it.
I agree. But yeah, I guess then I haven't had any of those types of friends that I would foresee changing the boundary.
Listen, in regards to your friend, I think that my opinion is that they should certainly pursue that.
Pursue what?
They're friends. If they're not having a good,
if
they're not having a good experience with experience.
Sorry, we're cycling back.
Going to the market. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cycling back. I think that they should pursue their friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Would you be a friend that they could pursue?
Yeah, but not on that level. Not like what you're saying with sleeping with friends. Like in terms of romantic...
Dating.
Yeah, dating your date.
Oh, you would go on a date with all of your friends?
Yes.
Oh, but you wouldn't have sex with your friends?
Correct.
So you go on the date with your friend, you realize that you do have the connection, then you have the sex. Whereas I'm like, let's have sex.
No. Sex is not a part of this at all. Dating.
So, why are we going on a date then?
No, dating your friends is like pursuing your friends as if like you need to get to know them more, as if you want to have one-on-one moments with them. So it's as if you're dating somebody, but it's not actually dating.
You just described really good friends.
The goal, yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes. So like, but like when you're, a lot of times when you're focused on dating actual
friends.
People that you want to pursue in a relationship.
Got you.
Your friends take the back seat, right? Like you forget about them. You don't give the amount of time that you should to the people who are always there for you.
Right.
But you're giving a ton of time to somebody who may disappear the next day.
Oh, I see what
so
you're saying.
I'm saying dating as in quote unquote. So my version of dating your friends is just allowing yourself to romanticize your relationship with your friends in terms of creating like this beautiful love, not in terms of like, I want to marry you, but in terms of like, we can go to a nice dinner. You and I, we're gonna spill a tea anyway, whether it's at a coffee shop or a nice dinner. Let's go to the nice dinner.
Do we get to hold hands?
Sure.
Do we get to kiss?
No. Depends on the friend. I think depends on the friend.
Can we go home and sleep together with a movie?
Sex?
No sex. Hug, spoon.
Maybe. Depends on the friend.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think it depends because like people who are more physically affectionate and that's part of their love language.
Yeah, I can be quite tactile.
Right. Like if that's a part of the friendship, absolutely. Absolutely. But the boundary would still be probably not having sex.
Okay, fine.
Or there's still got to be something that would separate
the sex,
the friendship
from the sex and the intimacy, intimacy,
like
that level of intimacy.
The relationship that you're trying to pursue with a man.
Yeah.
Like, what's the separation between the two? Right.
Okay. I get it. I understand what you're saying.
So take sex out of it because that's a whole separate conversation. To some friends and to some friend groups, that is accessible. That is a part of it.
I just want a finale.
I live for that for you.
Where's the finale?
What I so crave. I still do crave like having friendships that we can be naked with all the time. Like, let's just be on the beach naked.
Fine.
I need to be like comfortable. Like I want friends that are comfortable doing that with me because I'm ready to do it.
Do you know what? When we were talking about this podcast, I said this podcast is not going to be the sex and relationships podcast.
Here we are.
We just can't help it.
One episode.
Like moths to a flame.
We are homosexuals.
We are homosexuals. I was like, this is going to be an intellectual podcast where we discuss the real issues. And we're like, can I fuck my friend?
That's you. Literally the only person saying that is you. Not me. Not Hermione.
Not Hermione. You. Are we moving on?
Yeah, I think we can.
Babes, we're coming to the end of the show.
Yeah.
It's been nice holding space with you. Babe, see, we're close friends. We're practically dating.
I'm going to start taking Lee's nudes, just so everybody knows.
Oh my God, my nudes are really bad. Every time I send nudes, I know we have lights now.
We have lights? We have nice...
They're so dark. They're so, like, one guy was like, so where is it? It's like, where are you? So, yeah.
Friend.
Dear Z and Lee.
Yes.
So obviously this is the part of the show where you guys can write in, leave a comment, ask us a question about us. Obviously, nobody's writing in at the moment. So what we've decided to do is to take questions that our friends have asked us personally and just ask them on the show.
Applause.
B, what's it like living in New York in this political climate?
Well,
I can talk about New York City because New York State is quite different. I went upstate and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is different. This doesn't feel like Manhattan. These are different people. So quite generally, the city is its own world,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't change overnight because there's a new administration, a new president. I think that, yes, I think people are more vocal with their political positions.
Yeah.
Whether that's the hat that they're wearing or the t-shirt that they're wearing or where they're deciding to protest. But generally, I have not noticed a change. Given that I was here before the election to now, I have not noticed a change in the city in a way where I've gone, okay, cool. Do I need to book a one-way ticket back to London?
Yeah, I think the biggest change, there's a few different times where you can feel the energy change in the past. Like, for example, well, maybe we won't get into that right now.
You can say 9/11.
No.
Oh.
No, I wasn't getting into that. From what I've heard, actually, that was. Well, you don't need to say that. Never mind. Lord Jesus. No, when administrations have changed in the past, there has been energy shifts, like where you can feel like there was once where you could feel a weight lifted off of everybody. There was like a celebration happening in the streets, right? So yes, you're right. This time hasn't really felt much different. The one thing that I have noticed is people more vocal about questioning things that are happening. Meaning, like, regardless of how they voted, there's still some like, oh, this is happening. Why is this happening? Why is this going into play? Why is this going into work? And it's an outward conversation where everybody is like asking the same question regardless of political affiliation. Like, how is this going to impact us from a company standpoint? Like the tariffs, right? Like, how is this, like, why is this happening? What is the end goal? Because from from our side, again, regardless of your political affiliation, it puts in a massive hurdle for us to figure out how to produce clothing in the vast amount of countries that are all facing tariffs. So, like, regardless of where we've shifted product in the past to help avoid things or whatever it may be, this is now a new.
So you're saying less on like the people changing, more like how are these policies affecting the city/state?
Yes, but I think it's like the conversation though is open. I know I had family members, extended family members, aunt and uncles that went to their first protest, and that it was that.
Really?
Yeah. Facebook post like, "This is my first protest."
Aunts and uncles
whoa,
who lean on.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Okay, because that would have been spicy.
I cannot confirm.
That would have been
deny.
spicy if it was like a right wing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
member.
But the point is, the fact that my not older, but not like too old, but like older aunts and uncles are feeling the need to protest when they have never protested in their life. That's saying something.
I mean, that's major. These aunts and uncles live where?
In Michigan.
Yeah, that's major. Yeah. Because, if you told me the aunts and uncles lived in Bushwick, I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Like, sure, whatever.
But still, your first protest being in your...
Oh, right. I totally missed that point.
60s? I think some 60s. I'm trying to think of where they're placed in the big family, but I think I want to say 60s. Forgive me if you ever listen to this and it's the wrong age.
He's made you seem like you're 60 and you're 42.
Definitely not. My mom's the youngest and she's in her 50s, so it's gotta be 60s or 70s, but I think 60s. So, but like imagine that. Like, you've gone your whole life, regardless of whatever side of politics you're on, right? You've gone your whole life, and now you are feeling the need to protest in your 60s, right? That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Regardless of whatever side, like that's something.
Considering all the things that have happened in America over the last 60 years or 40 years, and this is the thing that's made you leave your house.
Right.
That is huge.
Regardless of where you are, too. Like, if that's Bushwick, that's still your first protest now.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible. So, anyway,
well,
I mean, that's not speaking to the question, but
hats off to your aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really say that there is a big difference that I can put my finger on, but also watch this space. What? Who knows what's going to happen? We're only on month 4.
Yeah, I think I just keep thinking of like, so my initial thought, right, from everything that's been happening is, should I be living in New York? It's weird because New York is like kind of an interesting mix. I'm safe here as a queer person, right? And that's part of why we all move here to begin with. But then in the same or opposite side of the spectrum, with everything that's happening politically and how many foreign powers are getting frustrated with our moves, the first place that anybody who wants to attack is going to be New York or DC, right? Like those are the two main hubs. So how safe are we choosing to live in this city for fashion? Like, so I can design clothes? You want me to put my safety at risk?
You're talking about yourself. I don't even have to be here.
I don't either. Well, yeah, you really don't.
I really don't have to be here.
Yes.
I've just put myself in harm's way just cause.
But I think, like, so that's been my biggest concern. Like, what happens if power gets cut off? Like, what, like, there's plenty of things. Some people will say that they're like fake concepts or conspiracy theories, but there's plenty of things that could realistically happen, right? And so, like, how am I, as somebody who lives alone in Brooklyn, prepared if something happens? Like, what does that look like if there's
do
no
we need
power,
one of those doomsday kits?
Yeah, like, do I need? That's literally a question I've been asking. Do I need something just in case, right? Do I need to have an escape route just in case? Like,
from here?
Yeah. Do I have a car? Like, what if I literally was talking to my mom about this the other day. Like, I don't have a car. I don't have a place to go. I'm in Brooklyn. So if bridges go down, we're stuck out here. Like, there's
a movie about that.
Yeah, there literally was just a movie that came out last year. This year?
Was that Julia Roberts?
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Also kind of freaked me out because I was literally processing all of this while watching that movie.
You didn't make me think about anything. I know.
Part of the point was that Teslas would drive themselves to block the intersection so that everybody would be stranded where they would be. And that's anyway.
It didn't scare me. I don't know why. I've seen it twice, actually.
I was gagged and gooped.
Wow. I think this is a perfect example of how we're different.
Yeah.
Because you watched that movie and clearly have had many thoughts. Unpacked
quite a bit.
Whereas for me, I remember I watched Contagion once we were in COVID. And I was like, oh my God, it happens. So I feel like that would need to happen. And then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh my God.
It's so relatable.
It's so relatable.
See, I'm definitely preemptive. I'm like, oh no.
Wow.
And I'm a horror film junkie too. So like things don't really get me. Like I'm like, okay, that person just got murdered. Fine.
Yeah.
Right. It's Scream mask, blood, fine. This, I was like, bitch.
Well,
I live here.
Yeah. Well, in some ways, you are then the star of the movie.
Yes.
How exciting is that? You're like right in.
I better be the one surviving.
You're in the middle of. And there are so many dystopian films. Watch them all. You'll figure out how to stay alive.
Exactly.
I'm not going to bother. I feel like that feels like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's just not something I'm into.
Lee's grave will be in.
I'm too much of a princess. What do you mean climb over a wall? What do you mean?
Baby.
What do you mean? All of these films like Bird Box and and was it the other one where you Quiet Place?
Oh yeah, Quiet Place.
I ain't trying to. I am not being quiet. Come and get me. I can't be asked.
I mean,
it's a lot of fucking work to survive.
The Quiet one is a little tricky.
The Quiet Place.
Yeah.
What do you mean the Bird Box? She has to have a thing over her eyes. She can't look at anything.
True.
That's a lot of fucking work.
I would have just stayed in home.
They tried that.
Yeah, but I think they probably ran out of food. That's why.
Yes. It's a lot
Yeah,
of work. They had to drive the car blind.
that's crazy. That is crazy, but a little less relatable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
No, the point of this though is I've been surprised by how many people are not aware enough to be concerned, like to not have this on their radar at all.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
I think
New
that
York is
brings
still
us
thriving.
to the end of the show. While New York is still thriving, as you've said, I want to say, I feel like I really connected with you on this episode.
It's because of the friends.
It's because of the friends.
Y'all, we're gonna
You're
turn
gonna
off the cut the camera.
Cut the camera.
Dead ass.
Take my nudes. Bend over, bitch. Yeah, no. What do I want to say? I want to say that obviously if you are on social media, you should follow us at Holdin Space Pod, Holding with no G, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And also, you can email me your questions. If you look at the show notes, my email will be right there, but it's leegrade04@gmail.com. That's my personal email that I just gave away. Hey, I need to make a podcast email at some point.
Too
late.
Comment. Send a DM.
But thank you so much for watching or listening, and hopefully you will tune in next week to Holding Space with
Z and Lee.
Period.
Bye.